Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner. Today we'll be focusing on a simple technique called spotlight stamping. So this is when we're going to create a bit of a focal point with the different colour of inks to make it pop a little bit from the background stamping, but continue the pattern on. So to start with, I'm just going to be stamping onto my card base. So this is just a normal white card base made from solar white cardstock, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I have these dies from Big World die set. So I'm not using the stamp set, but I will be using the dies, which are really, really fun. And I'm just going to pop them into position where I want them to be later on. And I am just going to draw around this with a light pencil line, just so I can easily remove the marks later on with an eraser. I'm then going to be using the Heart Flowers stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping the ones on my base with grey inks. So these are the ones from the Rock collection, and I'm using just the Silverstone for these flowers, as well as the other flowers that I will stamp as well. So I'll be using the Silverstone for the flowers, Limestone for the leaves, Silverstone for the veins in the leaves, and then I'll be using the Industrial Diamond for the second layer of the flowers. They do also have center images for these flowers, little fun centers, but I chose not to use them on this card because I wanted the background to be kind of subtle and then have the spotlight stamping pop more. So that's why I'm doing it this way around. After I'm happy with all of the base flowers and leaf images that I do have, I'm then going to add in the second layers for the flowers and the leaves. So as I said before, I'm going to be using the Industrial Diamond for the second layers of the flowers, and then the Silverstone for the veins in the leaves. As you can see, I didn't stamp the second layer on one of the flowers. This is because I know this is going to be covered up by the circle image that I'm going to place in later, so I don't need to bother to do this one. Once I've finished all the stamping on my base layer, I'm then going to move on to some die cutting. I'm going to die cut the two dies that I have out of the Big World die set. So this is the stand for the globe and also the circle globe image. I'm cutting the stand out of some gold cardstock because I thought this would be really fun and add a lot of interest to the card and a little bit of shine as well. So I'm using my mini Blossom die cutting machine to cut this out, as it's so sweet and it stays on my desk and it's just easy to grab and it's always at hand, so it's a great one to use for my die cutting. And you can see how beautiful that die cut is, and it does leave in these little embossed lines as well, so it's very, very detailed and great to use on its own without the matching stamp set. I'm then going to die cut the circle image from the die set, and I'm cutting this out of just some same cardstock that I've used for my card base. So this is the solar white, and I'm just going to run this through, and I'm then going to use this to do my focal stamping onto this piece here. So because I don't want to stamp again onto the piece that I've just stamped, I'm adding in a little bit of a mask. So my mask is a piece of thin acetate, and I'm popping this over my card so I don't get any other ink onto it. I just want the grey there. And then I'm going to add my circle die cut onto this piece of mask. So when I stamp over, it's just going to get caught by that acetate mask, and I'm not going to have to worry about it being on my card. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to arrange my stamps back into place where I stamped them on the card base, just so they go over onto my die cut piece. I'm using a Misty. You don't have to for this technique. You could definitely just stamp these up one by one. But as I had my Misty out and open, I figured I would use it on this one. So for the flowers, I'm going to be using some really bright colours. This is the Pinkalicious. This is one of my favourite pinks. It's very, very girly and very bright and vibrant. So I'm just going to go along and just layer this flower again over the one that I've already stamped. Make sure it's nice and clean because you don't want to get any random ink images onto this die cut that we've just cut. So as you can see, I'm just picking it up, and then again I'm going to use the Pinkalicious for this layer as well. I'm going to stamp that one down and then move on to my next one. So for this one, I'm going to be using a blue colour, and I'm going to be using the Volcano Lake. And it is a great colour that is one of my favourites, and I keep going to it again and again, and I love it so much. It's one of my favourites, and it goes very, very well with the Pinkalicious as well, I have to say. I'm then going to stamp the leaves exactly in the same way, so I'm lining them up on the ones that I've stamped onto my card base, and then lifting them up in the Misty. So this is, for these I'm going to be using Parrot, and for the veins of them I'm going to be using Olive. As it was this really small image, I found it easier and quicker, I would say, just to stamp the veins with a little acrylic block. As I said before, you don't have to use a Misty for this technique. You could just do it this way with all of the images. I'm then going to add in the second layers to the pink flowers, and I'm using ruby red for this. It did take a little bit of twisting, and as you can see, I've chose to use my acrylic block rather than my Misty because it just took a little less time. I'm then going to add in another flower to this centre. It's a little different from the one that I had originally placed underneath, but I think that this one worked really well with the composition, and I found that I wanted a bit more colour there. So I've added the layer in with the Pinkalicious, and for this one here I'm adding the layer in with the ruby red to even out the colours. So as you can see, I've removed the acetate mask from my card base. I can remove this and pop it to the side and reuse it later on. And then I have my die cut circle, which has my lovely beautiful, so I'm just going to pop this back into place. It does have that double-sided adhesive on it still, so I can then add my sentiment into place. I am again going to use the Misty here. This means that if I don't quite stamp my sentiment up as well as I wanted to the first time, and then can stamp over it just in the exact place as before. I'm using some permanent black ink to ink up my sentiment and then popping it down. And for the first time, I got it correct the first time, which was awesome. So I'm now going to remove the pencil lines that we did at the very beginning with a eraser, and then pop my circle into place for the final time. This time I'm adding some foam tape to the back so it sticks nice and firm, and it gives a little bit of dimension as well. So I'm popping my circle into place first. I'm then going to add in my globe stand, my lovely beautiful die cut gold globe stand, and I'm going to be adding this on with some of my Altenew adhesive. This is my favorite go-to adhesive, and I'm just going to pop that into place, and I love the way that this looks. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I love the subtle greys behind, and also the pop of colour on that globe as well. I really do hope that you've enjoyed today's card, and that you like the technique, and that you even give it a go. I would really love to see what you come up with. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and don't want to miss out on any more that we do upload to the channel, it would be lovely if you do subscribe to the channel, therefore you won't miss out on anything that we do upload. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again really soon. Goodbye!